The crystalline halls of the Galactic Council trembled as another explosion rocked the space station. Ambassador HFY Stories of the Reptilian Coalition slammed his scaled fist against the polished table, his vertical pupils dilating with rage. "This has gone too far," he hissed, his forked tongue flicking out nervously. "The Void Hunters have destroyed 3 more trade routes this cycle alone." Around the circular chamber, representatives from dozens of species murmured their agreement. The insectoid hive mind delegates' antennae twitched frantically, while the gaseous beings from the Nebula Collective pulsed with anxious energy. For 2 standard years, the mysterious Void Hunters had been terrorizing the Outer Rim territories, their black ships appearing without warning to devastate entire colonies. High Counselor Velterra, an elegant being whose translucent skin revealed flowing patterns of bioluminescence, raised her hand for silence. "The situation is indeed grave," she acknowledged, her melodic voice carrying across the chamber. "Our combined fleets have been unable to track these entities. They strike without warning and vanish into dark space." "Perhaps it's time," came a trembling voice from the back. Elder Kef of the silicon-based Crystallians stepped forward, his rocky form grinding against the floor. "Perhaps it's time we considered the contingency." A horrified silence fell over the assembly. The contingency. Even the name sent shivers through species that didn't possess spines. It referred to something so dangerous, so unpredictable, that the Council had hoped never to use it. "You speak of awakening the humans," Velterra said quietly, her bioluminescent patterns dimming to deep purple, a sign of fear among her people. "I do," Kef replied firmly. "They are the only species to have ever successfully fought off a Void Hunter incursion. The records from the Terra colony incident prove this." The chamber erupted into chaos. Some delegates screeched in terror, others clicked their mandibles in disagreement, and the aquatic depth dwellers' translation devices crackled with static as they argued in their high-frequency language. Ambassador HFY Stories' scales had turned pale yellow, the reptilian equivalent of shock. "You cannot be serious. The humans were placed in cryo-sleep for a reason. They are unstable, violent. Their very presence disrupts the natural order." "As do the Void Hunters," Elder Kef countered. "We face extinction, fellow counselors. 300 colonies have been lost. Our military forces are being systematically destroyed. We need warriors, not diplomats." High Counselor Velterra's patterns shifted to deep red as she accessed the classified archives. The human records made for disturbing reading. A species that had somehow evolved to be naturally aggressive, territorial, and yet capable of incredible technological advancement. They had joined the Galactic Council 2 centuries ago, only to be placed in suspended animation after the infamous bar fight incident that had nearly started an interstellar war. "The psychological profiles are concerning," she said aloud. "Humans exhibit pack bonding behavior with other species, fierce loyalty to abstracts like justice and freedom, and an alarming tendency to fight against impossible odds rather than surrender." "Exactly what we need," Kef pressed. "The Void Hunters feed on fear and desperation. Humans seem incapable of either emotion when sufficiently motivated." Another explosion, closer this time, made the decision for them. The station's defense grid was failing. Long-range sensors showed 50 Void Hunter vessels materializing from dark space, their biomechanical hulls pulsing with malevolent energy. "Motion to activate Human Contingency Protocol," Kef announced formally. "Seconded," came a voice from the Synthetic Collective, their cybernetic representatives' optical sensors glowing brighter. Velterra looked around the chamber. Fear, desperation, and something that might have been hope flickered in dozens of alien eyes. "All in favor?" The vote was unanimous. Deep beneath the station, in a section that hadn't been accessed for 200 years, ancient machinery hummed to life. Rows upon rows of cryo chambers began their warming cycles, and within each chamber, a figure stirred. Captain Sarah Chen was the first to open her eyes, her augmented reflexes immediately assessing her surroundings. The soft hum of life support systems, the gentle blue glow of status displays, and the familiar weight of artificial gravity told her she was still aboard the Council station. But something was wrong. The timeline on her chamber's display showed she had been asleep for 2 centuries. "Status report," she commanded, her voice hoarse from cryosleep. Her AI companion, linked directly to her neural implants, responded immediately. "Captain, we are in the midst of a Council emergency. Unknown hostile forces designated Void Hunters have been conducting systematic attacks on galactic civilization. Council has activated Human Contingency Protocol." Chen allowed herself a grim smile as she stepped out of her chamber. Around her, other members of the Human Defense Corps were awakening, soldiers, scientists, engineers, and strategists who had been humanity's finest before their enforced hibernation. Well, she said, watching her crew shake off the effects of their long sleep. "Looks like the galaxy needs the crazy humans after all." Lieutenant Marcus Torres, her tactical officer, was already accessing weapon systems through his neural link. "Captain, I'm reading massive Void Hunter signatures closing on the station. ETA 15 minutes. "Perfect," Chen replied, her smile widening. "Just enough time to remind everyone why they put us to sleep in the first place. All hands to battle stations. It's time to show these Void Hunters what happens when you mess with our friends." As the Human Defense Corps sprang into action with the terrifying efficiency that had once alarmed the galaxy, the Council members watched through their viewing portals. The humans moved with a purpose and intensity that seemed almost supernatural, their battle cries echoing through the station's corridors. For the first time in 2 years, the Void Hunters were about to encounter something more frightening than themselves, awakened humans with something to protect.